Good guys, it's your boy CS. Today we are going to look at the Bitcoin chart. I think alts will follow, so we'll do a separate video on alts later on. But for now, let's just have a recap as to what's happened. This has been a very long week, a very, very long week, where actually if we start from here, Monday we got that absolutely annihilation candle all the way down here to around 49k. And then we've since then bounced back up to 62k. And look how beautiful this looks on the weekly at the moment, which is actually forming a hammer formation, which is normally a sign of a bullish reversal if it ends up like this by the end of the week. Now, if we zoom out and look at my spider line chart, as you'll see, and I mentioned last time, it hit this beautifully. It's now gone to the next phase and smashed through that. What we'd be hoping for is that Bitcoin stays above this, right? We may possibly next week, and we'll have to determine that when we get there, if we get a bounce around this 57k region. And I think that's a good time to put in some buys, in my opinion. I'll be looking at some buys around 57, 58k and seeing how Bitcoin tests this region. Additionally, on the Fibonacci retracement, we can see here that we've ended up at the 0.786 level. So we're still within a range where Bitcoin is still currently underneath this and is respecting the levels of the resistance at the moment. Obviously, anything can happen in the next few days. We're only at Friday. We've still got a full day today and the whole weekend. And usually weekends, we do have pumps, or we do have big dumps as well. So something to be wary of. On this historic chart as well, which is a massive support and a resistance channel, as you'll see, we came out of it once upon a time. We've come back in, came out of it, and now we're back in at the moment. So very, very bullish for Bitcoin. On this one, we're still within this descending channel, still respecting the levels, no different here. And here again, same thing, horizontal support and resistance lines on this chart, still respecting the levels. If we delve a bit deeper and go down, I think what we need to understand here is whether this is now a... If we're flipping from higher highs and higher lows, or if we're still sticking to lower highs and lower lows. And as you can see here, from when we started this whole range, right? I might have to go back to the weekly here, just so you guys understand. We've got lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, and then lower high, lower low. Then we printed a higher high, higher low, lower high, and then lower low, higher low, lower low. And then this is the bit where we need to determine, is this just part of this bit? Do you see this bit here, where it's just a green bullish weekly candle, which we have right now here. But then the next week, the following week, it could go bloop and nuke down. And so that's why it's always good to have some exposure in the market. And if you're leverage trading, please don't bet the house on everything just yet. Calm down. I know a lot of people were raving at 62k, where I literally shorted as well, as I showed on my Mexi account. So just be careful with what you're doing here. And let's just see where this gets to. As far as smaller time frames, and if I go to the 4 hourly, right? If we go into this historically has been a nice, well, you could say it's a descending channel or a descending wedge, right? We've broken out of it, but what I'd like to see is a retest round here. So 58, 57, possibly next week or this week. And that's where I'm getting to with what I mentioned on the previous chart, where, there's multiple levels of a retest of a support zone. So here, again, on the spider lines, these spider lines are crazy accurate, man. They are crazy accurate. And as I keep saying to you, everything corroborates with one another. Now, if I go back onto, let's go into this chart and I put the EMA ribbons on. If I just show you what happened, we've broken out of the weekly EMA last week, and we had done that once upon a time, and then the week after we only touched it, and right now we were actually above it yesterday at one point, and we've only just touched it. The following week we absolutely rippled right through. And remember, this EMA ribbon is historically a very strong support line. Now if I now zoom into the daily, and the reason I took this short is because, you know, when we get clusters around the EMA ribbons like this, right? When you get a cluster where there's two EMA ribbons there, that's my signal to short. I always short when you hardly ever get clusters, right? But when you do, like this here, can you see here? There's a cluster, orange and red. That's when I take shorts. Turquoise and red, short. And so in this case, this one obviously has an impulse move up. So that one is a bit of a anomaly. But again, look at the cluster here. If you were buying, you were buying here and it went up. And so here, this is the reason why I temporarily did do a short. I could have just left it in for a while, but as I say, I don't really like keeping shorts on for too long. And I'm not too sure as well with conviction that this is going to go all the way down here. I'm not a moon boy, a moon phaser just yet. We'll have Spartan, Baker and Steve elaborate on these types of moon phases. But apparently when the moon phases come through, let me take the EMA ribbons off. When they flash like this, it usually means there's downward momentum, and so we don't get another one of these, I think, for another like 2 weeks or so. Then we should get a flash, and then this so far it looks quite accurate if you ask me. So like blue down, cream up, blue down, cream up, same thing. So, you know, it is pretty accurate with what it shows, but we'll need a few more people to elaborate on that, because I'm definitely not the one to go into a lot of detail. Now on the 4 hourly, if I also pick up the EMA ribbons, there was also a like we blasted through 20, blasted through 50, and then 100 and 200. There's a cluster here, and that's why I was thinking to myself, actually when this rebounds, this cluster might end up here around the 58k region, 57 region, 50, yeah, around that region. And it might hit this horizontal support zone. Look, I don't know for sure, but I'm just banking on this movement because of patterns before, where when it usually blasts through something very, very quickly and it gets rejected, like it's got rejected off the blue ribbon here. Let's just say, look, there's a cluster here and it nearly hit that. It normally retraces a bit. It normally just retraces a bit. And with this one, again, same thing. When it was right at the bottom, it came up and hit the EMA ribbons and then retraced a bit. You could say technically it did retrace on the 20, but on the 50, we never got really any signs of alarmment. It just literally just ripped through. And then finally, if we look at the USDT, we've now bounced off the 100 and it's starting to make a move up, and it could hit that 5.63% level. Again, that might be a good buy opportunity. We need to just determine and measure where the trend is going. And historically, since we've been in this trend since around June, we've been bouncing off the EMA ribbons, right? And so we bounced off this one, and technically it could go higher. It could go higher, which means inversely Bitcoin could go lower. And really, that's all I've got for you guys at the moment. I can't really say for certain whether, you know, it's up only. Usually an impulse move up like this means I'm normally very bullish on it, but I want to see where this retraces over the next coming days and early next week. Once we know a bit more, then we can determine. For now, if you've not got exposure to many altcoins, whether it be Casper, Ponky, Brett, etc., I definitely DCA in if you haven't already. If you've already DCA'd in and you've got some fiat on the side, probably just wait it out. There's no rush here. There's no rush whatsoever. All right, guys, that's it from me. Catch you in there.